Hi there, and welcome to our critique on the social good project. For those of you that may have had me before, I usually try to do this for the major projects in the course. This semester, it just took a really long time to get everybody's work. I mean, technically, the class ended yesterday, and I still got someone's project last night. It was kind of crazy with deadlines this semester. So I'm going to go ahead and show everybody's project. I know most of you are online students, but there's always a benefit to seeing someone else's work. One, if you're one of the upper students, maybe you're setting the bar for the class creatively. It's great to see where you are at because you're not seeing everyone else's work. And then there's also the opposite. Like if you are, on the lower end, you need to work a lot on your, maybe your typography skills, or your stuff's not looking finished, or there's a lot of typos. Like you can see where you might want to be shooting and, start giving yourself some more time in the software, spending more time on tutorials, things that you might be able to do to become a better designer. So this kind of benefits all the way around. I came from an on-ground background, so I'm used to teaching in class just as much. And so this is a very helpful tool for all the way around. I'll also be doing one of these for the final project. Hang in there because you might not have course access anymore by the time I get all the projects. I'm trying to get them done. I have people submitting late. I will send it directly to your Liberty emails. So if for some reason you're already kicked out of your course shell, I will send it directly to your Liberty emails. So hang in there. So let's go ahead and go over the work. I'm going to just go ahead and show the work to give some feedback on it. I'll probably split this up into 2 videos just so they're not like super long. So we're going to go ahead and start off with Alexis. If your work is not here, it's probably not submitted, or there is a possibility that you submitted way early. I'm going to just show the PDFs for the most part because that's just going to be easier for me to... this one is called Calmer Waters. The first page is just input a little bit weird, so we're just going to see the logo down here. So this was on ocean pollution, as far as I remember. You can see Calmer Waters, the logo is there, and then this would be one of the ads. Plastic bag a day leads to wildlife disarray. Talking about the idea behind it, water bottles are one of the greatest kinds of plastic waste in landfills. Applied to a billboard and applied to an editorial spread. All right, so let's go ahead and dive right into giving some feedback. I think the copywriting is good. I'm not sure you need to have wildlife in there. Like if you just say plastic bag a day leads to disarray, it kind of flows off the tongue a little bit easier. I think your logo is getting there. You're definitely losing a little bit of like the actual logo itself compared to the little water splotches. So maybe incorporating like calmer or like some kind of blue element into the actual logo, just to kind of help connect, because as you can see in a smaller application, you really don't even see the text. With this style of marketing, I would encourage you to not always use vectors. Why? Because think about it. If you're walking along and you see an image that you want to connect with, most of the time it's not going to be a drawing. You're going to connect with something like a real plastic bag or, even the fish. And in this case, I can tell that it's been image traced, which never aesthetically is pleasing most of the time. Because you could just see all the levels in the image trace. Go find a good image of a plastic bag and do it the Photoshop way. That would be the way that I would attack it, because then you're going to have that emotional connection with it, because you're going to connect with the image itself, especially with the actual fish in there. Same thing here. Find a picture of a bottle, take a picture of a bottle, make it as dramatic as you can. There's tons of free stock imagery online, and have that real image versus like the image trace. That kind of just is all the way around. You could see here, you used an actual image and it's working better here. I would take it out of the circle, let it bleed the whole background, and then you could have some room for your text. And I know this is your editorial spread. I don't think you need to have like the faux gutter there. You could take the line out, and you could definitely split it and have the text be flush left. Maybe over here have it be 2 columns versus centered. Okay, thanks so much for that, Alexis. Okay, so Angela, we're gonna look at yours. So I believe hers was on a similar environmental change. Thank you so much for making that final change on the green. It really made a huge difference in the logo. Okay, so a lot of similar graphics to honestly the last one that we just saw, only kind of the opposite approach. Not a lot of vectors and using images themselves. So I think that one's definitely more successful. The logo and your typography is definitely successful. Like you can see you're using updated fonts, steering away from impact and such. Let's go back to the, your mock-ups are great. I mean, they really show the client, hey, this is where this would exist. So I think the logo itself is aesthetically pleasing enough that I would look twice at it if I walked by it. I think that's a really nice touch there. For your actual editorial spread, you can turn off your guides. I think that would help here. You can also, where you have your giant chunks of copy, I would switch that up and either do a 2 or 3 column grid system, just because you'll make it easier to read here. I'm realizing you probably just place copy in there to place copy in there, but other than that, I think you did a really nice job aesthetically. Sorry if you hear my kids in the background. They are definitely running around being crazy. Yeah, let's start with this one. This was actually one of my favorite pieces from this course. I teach 2 sections of this class this semester. This was on adoption awareness, I believe. And the prompt was to give to make their lives easier through that transition. So this was their logo. So you can see a little bit, in this sense, the application that the logo would be placed in. I think the coloring and everything is great. I would possibly just make the B and the tighter, and even bring them a little bit more in, because you kind of read it as Beth, especially when you're farther out, just because of the style of the typeface and everything. But I like it. I think it looks really cool. Very nice mock-ups, really nice job on them. Like, I know this is your editorial spread. The type is nicely managed. I know it's like dummy copy. You could always go in there and replace that for your portfolio later. But the whole children should feel at home. You have really nice variety with your typefaces. I thought this was awesome as well. Some weird things with your spacing a little bit, like the spacing over here with in front of the B looks great, but then children is kind of going off the page. So kind of just be aware of, your margins in whatever document you're creating in. I think you can make your logo just a little bit smaller. Maybe not force justify the text here because you get all these little rivers. But I know in general that was the same thing for your outdoor ad as your print ad and everything. But yeah, I think it looks great. Aesthetically, the whole thing just came together really nice. Okay, Charles. I did not have much from you from what I remember. But let's see what we can do here. Okay, I'm not going to play it because sometimes the audio just comes out funky, but I'll just go over it. So awareness for epilepsy, call for donations to sponsor schools. So thumbnails. This was the logo. I'm familiar with this. My niece has food-related epilepsy, so she can't have sugar and certain types of things. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back here. I would say you have a great cause. It just needs a lot of tightening up. I would definitely revisit most of the typography in the piece because it looks quite dated. most of the visuals don't connect as a campaign. Each one kind of looks a little bit different versus looking like they were all stylized to be shown together. So even here, like, I think the ribbon works itself. I don't even know if you need the blue line underneath it. I would just update the typography to be something a little bit more time specific, updated. This is your editorial spread. I would use some real images in here, like, or just use one giant image maybe in your banner up here. So take all this blue down a little bit, make it thinner, and then have like a larger image maybe here, just going off the page of like kids in a classroom, something where people can really connect the educating and epilepsy. Yeah, same here. The image is working. Just need some work on that typography. And that big blue bar, I just don't think is helping you much. I mean, if you want to use it, maybe use it as a very small design element versus like such a dominant element. Yeah, this one too. Yeah, I would do a picture of like an actual classroom or something like that. And then you could just put your logo there in inverse. And remember, in a social feed, you have text underneath it. So that's where you can have your prompt for calling and your tagline as needed if you need it in there. Because then there'd be text underneath there that you can, help connect the brand back to. It's just overall updating the visuals and just kind of getting more, I want to say less vector and more like realistic advertising. Okay, Claire, I don't know what happened with yours. We're not going to look at... For some reason, you gave me all MP4s. So, I remember there wasn't audio. Instead of PDFs, I have MP4s from her. So, let's go ahead and just... They don't do anything. They're just stills. So, I'll just see if I can spacebar it, because it's just easier on me. Nope, looks like nope. All right. I know it was a mental health campaign. I believe this is her primary logo, fostering mental health. I mean, some things that are fun in the logo, like the hands and everything, I would just find a way to maybe not awkwardly cut them off. If you bring the whole barbell down and let the little hands go off the page, then you'll have like a natural place where they could just be cut off with the circle, and then the little like mental health ribbon could just stand there. Definitely could update some of the typefaces there. Like I know this is a mock-up. Again, with this style of advertising, vectors are not necessarily the way to go. Using actual stock imagery might be the way to go here. Yeah. Because I'm not going to connect with an illustration, especially if it's just, I know that you want it to look like they had dirty shoes or they need new shoes. If you actually show someone that needs new shoes or that kind of crop on an image, it'll connect a lot better there. Yeah, I mean, there's so many possibilities that you could do too, like a fist holding the ribbon. I mean, if you want to have it updated, it could be like, middle-aged adult. It could be someone with like a tattoo. It could be something where it's obviously like someone tough, so showcasing that we're going to be fighting for them. All right, let's do one more and then we'll stop and go to the next one. We'll do Devon's. Yes, I remember yours. Yours is very clean. Okay, so this was on Clean Capital, a greener DC for all. So this was the general logo. For some reason, when I first saw it, I thought it was a hamburger. Maybe I was just hungry. But I read it as a hamburger. Now that I see it again, I'm like, maybe bring the stars up a little bit, just to space them out a little bit. What I liked specifically about yours, you had a great color scheme, fantastic imagery. Like that's exactly what you should see in a PSA versus a vector in a lot of ways. And just a really fun typeface. Like it's serious, but it's got this curl to it that makes it a little bit more visually interesting. So I think you're type specific here. Maybe make your logo a little bit smaller, or just take the drop shadow off of it. I don't think you necessarily need the drop shadow. It looks great as a poster. I would possibly even make like maybe this whole background here is the image, and then have the type just be whited out, because you're really in a city like this. You're going to notice that green because it's got a lot of the brick in the background. Yeah, this is really good marketing. Yep, overall just really good. Just some minor updates, getting rid of some drop shadows and things of that sort.